What do you mean you don't like it? Are you trying to say Amanda makes a better meal than I do? I literally taught that girl how to cook and you've been eating my...
When was the last time I ate your food start to finish?
It's been 5 years since Adaeze last cooked for her husband. 5 whole years. She hadn't had any reason to step into the kitchen, not even to boil a cup of water. That was how intentional her husband has been about making sure she was well taken care of. But to understand why, we have to go back to April 12th, 2019, during their second wedding anniversary. Adaeze has spent almost the entire day in the kitchen, preparing every single one of her husband's favorite meal. She wanted everything to be perfect. Pot after pot, dish after dish, she poured her heart into the meal. By the time she was done, she was completely exhausted. Every muscle in her body ached. She could barely keep her eyes open. In fact, she was so tired that when it was finally time for the two of them to celebrate their anniversary privately, if you know what I mean, her body simply refused to cooperate. Her husband understood immediately. He didn't complain, he didn't get angry. The following day, after returning from work, he sat beside her, held both her hands, looked straight into her eyes and said,
"Babe, I will get you a maid. I don't want you being stressed like this ever again."
Looking at him that day, Adaeze couldn't stop smiling. She silently thanked God for blessing her with such a thoughtful husband. Of course, she accepted his offer. And from that day forward, she practically retired from the kitchen. Fast forward to today, it was their 7th wedding anniversary. 5 years had passed since she last prepared a meal for him. She wanted to surprise him. She wanted to remind him that before Amanda came into the picture, she was the woman who had stolen his heart with her cooking. To make the evening even more special, she asked Amanda, their domestic help, to take a few days off and spend time with her family. Besides, the children were already away on holiday with their grandparents, so the house would belong to just the both of them. Everything was perfect. The candles were lit. The table was beautifully arranged. The aroma of freshly prepared Nigerian dish filled the entire house. That evening, her husband returned from work, looking completely exhausted. After exchanging anniversary greetings, he loosened his tie and sighed. "Babe, I'm so hungry." She smiled. "Go and freshen up. Dinner is ready." A few minutes later, he came downstairs, sat at the dining table and picked up his fork. Adaeze had barely stepped into the kitchen to get a jug of water when she heard a scream that shook the entire house. Jesus! Who prepared this meal? Where is Amanda? She dropped everything and rushed back. "Babe, what's wrong?" Instead of answering, he looked around frantically. Where is Amanda? Who prepared this? "I did. I gave Amanda leave." "Gave her what?" At that moment, Adaeze was completely confused. This wasn't disappointment. This wasn't irritation. This looked like genuine panic. Before she could understand what was happening, her husband pulled out his phone and immediately dialed Amanda. The moment she answered, he shouted, Amanda, if I don't find you in this house, you will refund me the salary I just paid you this month." Adaeze stood there speechless. Nothing made sense anymore. This was the same man who had never raised his voice at anyone. Why was he suddenly behaving like this? The only person she wanted to speak to was their mentor, Mama Tina. But unfortunately, Mama Tina was already on a flight to the United States. With nobody else to call, she dialed her elder sister. Immediately she finished explaining everything. Her elder sister burst into laughter. I'm not surprised. All men are the same. He's obviously sleeping with Amanda.
Oh yeah, what are you waiting for? Do you want to file for divorce?
Adaeze wasn't surprised by her sister's response. After all, the woman had caught her own husband cheating on their 7th wedding anniversary. She was speaking from pain. Knowing that one more minute on that call would only fill her head with more suspicion, Adaeze ended it. Still, the question refused to leave her mind. Could her husband really be having an affair with Amanda? It didn't sound believable. Didn't have to wait long for another surprise. Less than 2 hours, Amanda was back. Adaeze couldn't believe it. Owerri to Lagos in less than 2 hours. How? Unless Amanda boarded a flight, it simply wasn't possible. Had she truly gone home? Or had she been somewhere nearby all along? Amanda quietly walked into the house, carrying her small travel bag. "Good afternoon, ma." Adaeze didn't answer. She simply stood there, studying her from head to toe. Slim figure, flat tummy, decent dressing, everything looked normal. She searched desperately for a sign that would confirm the thoughts racing through her mind. But before she could finish examining her, her husband came downstairs. Amanda immediately greeted him. "Good evening, sir." Without even looking at Adaeze, he replied,
Evening,
Amanda. Take your bags,
to the room.
Okay.
That was it. Adaeze couldn't hold herself back anymore. What exactly is going on here? She shouted. She turned around and walked away before anyone could answer. That night, the silence inside their bedroom was almost unbearable. Neither of them spoke for several minutes. Eventually, her husband walked in. His face tense as though he wanted to apologize, but didn't quite know how to begin. Adaeze broke the silence first.
Exactly what
is going on? Why did you react like that downstairs? He folded his arms, looked away for a few seconds, and finally replied, It's about the food. I didn't like it. Adaeze laughed bitterly. You didn't like it?
What do you mean you don't like it? Are you trying to say Amanda makes a better meal than I do? I literally taught that girl how to cook and you've been eating my...
Before she could say another word, he cut her off.
When was the last time I ate your food start to finish?
The question landed like a slap. Adaeze froze. She could literally feel her heartbeat echoing inside the room. Then anger took over. Without thinking, she looked him straight in the eyes and said, Indeed, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. The room fell silent. Her husband stared at her in complete disbelief. It was only after the words left her mouth that Adaeze realized what she had done. She hasn't just insulted him, she had compared him to his father, Mr. Obiora, the serial cheat, the abusive husband, the man her own husband has spent years trying not to become. The disappointment on his face hurt more than any words he could have said. Unable to bear the silence any longer, Adaeze picked up her pillow and walked out quietly. The next morning, she walked downstairs, hoping the tension would have disappeared overnight. Instead, the first person she saw was Amanda. Good morning, ma. She greeted. Something about the greeting felt different. It lacked the warmth she was used to. It sounded arrogant. Amanda,
why did you greet me like that? How did I greet you?
Adaeze was still trying to process the unexpected response when Amanda suddenly burst into tears. Heavy tears, the kind that would make anyone believe she had been terribly oppressed. Before Adaeze could even understand what was happening, footsteps thundered down the staircase. Her husband appeared. His expression immediately hardened. You will not humiliate this poor girl because of your jealousy and delusion, he shouted. Jealousy? Delusional? Adaeze couldn't believe what she had just heard. At that point, she felt like bringing the entire house down. She had barely taken 2 steps when her phone rang. She glanced at the screen. Mama Tina. Relief washed over her immediately. She answered the call through tears and poured out everything that had happened over the last 24 hours. She expected empathy. She expected comfort. Instead, Mama Tina calmly asked,
Is that all?
Adaeze paused. Was that really all her mentor had to say? Mama Tina asked her to calm down first and call back after she had collected herself. Several minutes later, Adaeze called again. This time, Mama Tina spoke firmly. She explained that a wise woman doesn't allow emotions to lead important conversations. If something doesn't make sense, you ask questions before reaching conclusions. Instead of shouting, insulting her husband and assuming the worst, she should have quietly asked him what he meant when he said he didn't like the food. Adaeze listened quietly, but deep down, she struggled to accept the correction. After all, she wasn't just an ordinary woman who knew how to cook. Back in university, she had one of the biggest catering brands on campus. Students came from different faculties just to buy her food. Corporate organizations placed orders with her. Lecturers recommended her service. She had personally trained over 100 caterers. Amanda herself was one of her trainees. So, if someone like her was being told that her food was the problem, then something was wrong somewhere. What exactly was her husband hiding? That question refused to leave her mind. Later that evening, Mama Tina called again. This time, she requested that both husband and wife come together for the conversation. Adeze walked quietly into the bedroom where her husband was sitting. Without saying a word, she handed him the phone. He received it respectfully. "Mommy, good evening." Mama Tina smiled from the other end. "Our big man, how are you? Tell me, what exactly is going on?" Mama Tina listened carefully as Adeze's husband began to explain everything that had happened. He spoke about the argument, the misunderstanding, and the painful comparison Adeze had made between him and his father. But strangely, he skipped the most important part of the story. He never mentioned the food. Adeze almost interrupted him. She wanted to remind him. She wanted to ask him, what about the food? She remembered one of Mama Tina's street counseling rules: never interrupt your spouse while they are speaking. So she held herself back. He finished. Mama Tina remained silent for a few seconds before asking the question Adeze had been waiting to hear. "What about the food your wife cooked?" Her husband sighed deeply.
Mommy,
Pepper was too much. It burnt my throat so badly I couldn't even swallow. Pepper? Adeze blinked in confusion. Of all the reasons she had imagined, pepper wasn't one of them. Everyone who knew her knew she was an excellent cook. Yes, she loved pepper, but that wasn't unusual. Even while they were dating, she cooked with pepper, but her husband would make some jokes about it, saying that 200 naira pepper was too much for one pot of soup. But that was it. As if that was not enough, he said something that completely changed everything. "Mommy, last year, I was diagnosed with severe bleeding ulcer. The doctor warned me that if I continued eating spicy food, it could damage my stomach even further. That was why I brought Amanda into the house, to help my wife." Silence filled the room. Adeze couldn't move. She couldn't speak. She simply stared at her husband. He had ulcer, a bleeding ulcer, and she never knew. Mama Tina spoke again. "Why didn't you tell your wife?" He slowly turned toward Adeze. His voice became much softer. "I didn't want to hurt her feelings. She's passionate about cooking. She's proud of it. I was afraid she would think I no longer appreciated her food, so I chose to manage it quietly." Adeze felt as though the ground beneath her had disappeared. Everything she had believed over the last 24 hours began falling apart. Amanda wasn't sleeping with her husband. Amanda was protecting her husband's health. Her husband, on the other hand, wasn't hiding another woman, but he was hiding an illness. Before anyone else could speak, Mama Tina's husband, Mr. Larry, chuckled gently over the speaker. "You see what happens when people stop communicating? Something as ordinary as pepper almost destroyed a beautiful marriage." Everyone laughed softly except Adeze, because another realization was beginning to unfold inside her. She suddenly remembered someone she hadn't thought about in years. Ebuka, her university boyfriend. The man who loved pepper so much that no amount was ever enough. Even after adding fresh pepper to every meal, he would still sprinkle dry pepper on top before eating. Back then, because she loved him, she forced herself to start cooking that way. Over time, it became normal. So normal that she completely forgot where the habit came from. She slowly lowered her head. The pepper wasn't even her preference. It was Ebuka's. She had unknowingly carried one of her ex-boyfriend's habits into her marriage. A habit her husband silently endured for years. Tears filled her eyes. Not because her husband had rejected her cooking, but because she had almost destroyed her own home over baggage she didn't even realize she was carrying. After the call ended, neither of them spoke immediately. There was no anger anymore, only honesty. For the first time in a long time, they sat down with a pen and a sheet of paper. Together, they wrote down every hurt, every fear, every assumption, every secret, and every conversation they had avoided over the years. Some of the things made them laugh, some made them cry, some even made them apologize. When they were done, they held hands and prayed together. That night became the conversation they should have had years earlier. And let's just say they finally celebrated the anniversary they had postponed all those years. In fact, Several months later, they welcomed another blessing into their family. Looking back, Adaeze realized something she would never forget. Sometimes, the greatest threat to marriage isn't another man or another woman. Sometimes it is silence. It is assumptions. Sometimes it's unhealed habits from the past. And sometimes it is simply too much pepper. So now, it's your turn. If you were in Adaeze's shoes, what would you have thought was wrong? Do you think she was justified in suspecting Amanda? And also, what did you learn from our story? Please share your thoughts in the comment. If you enjoyed this story, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. We will see you in the next one. Bye.